Well, afternoon, folks. It is Friday, and it is time to get down the road, get on a little adventure. I found a spot to camp next to a lake, free camping. So hopefully we've got it all to ourselves. We'll see. Either way, it's going to be a great night. Join me. Let's go. Well, I made it, folks, and I found a little camp spot here. Obviously a spot where some folks have camped before. And I am in southeast Ohio, down almost to the Ohio River. So very close to West Virginia. There's some folks up enjoying the water at the moment at the boat launch. And so I will take you around and show you that after a bit, or give you a nice drone footage coming up in the morning. But around here looks like the dam that they built. I'll go ahead and show you. You can see the dam, and there's to go up to the boat launch. Fire pit, which there's a lot of trash around here, so looks like I'm going to be picking up some trash, but that's okay. So I always try to leave places a little better than I find them, which, you know, some places you don't have to do anything. Other places, this looks like it may be like a party spot for the locals. And with that usually comes a lot of trash. So kind of sad, because it's very beautiful here. Absolutely beautiful. Passed several Amish farms on the way here, and yeah, beautiful, absolutely beautiful country. If you've ever been down southern Ohio, I'm telling you, it is very, very pretty. Their driving isn't too bad either. There's some twisty roads, some iffy roads I went over, but you know, nothing I haven't dealt with before. So let me get the old truck set up here, and got a really cool meal planned for tonight. Gonna make some shrimp tacos. So really looking forward to that. That ought to be excellent. So check back in with you in a minute, folks. Take care. folks. I've got my little table set up here, my little prep station. I got some wild caught raw shrimp from Kroger. Some decent looking stuff. And what I'm going to do is open this up, and I got a fresh lemon, fresh lime. Going to slice those open and squeeze those in there and let those things thaw out and draw in some of that good flavor from the marinade kind of in that lime and lemon. And that ought to be pretty excellent. I've also got some fresh cilantro, and that'll be pretty good to make up my some fresh cilantro, and also got some cheese and some little bit of sour cream, because I don't do any type of Mexican food without sour cream. To me, sour cream makes everything way better. So I'll get this. This is, I swear, I went to Kroger, and they had the biggest lemons I've ever seen. Look at the size. This thing's gargantuan. Like, I'm used to the lemons that are like, you know, more the size of this lime. And this was the healthiest looking small one they had. Thing's ginormous, hulking. I'm used to them being that size. Like, you know, a little bigger than a golf ball. But I'm not complaining, because life didn't hand me lemons, I bought them. Anyway. Yes, I know. My jokes, my wife tells me all the time, my jokes are just the funniest thing she's ever heard. Don't let her tell you any different. And if she says any different than that, she's lying. I know what she really thinks. Some truck is settling. So I'm going to squeeze some lime juice in here. Also going to save a little. Save one half of the lime for later, and one half of the lemon for later. Because I'll be honest, I love the taste of lemon and lime together in any type of seafood. I don't know why, but the citrus just goes so well with, especially like shrimp. See, a little 4-cylinder Mustang with a, I like the, man, okay, that's going to be good. That is going to be very good. Let's think of how I can kind of tuck this. I want these to sit out and continue thawing, but I want them to thaw in that juice. And I don't want any of the juice getting out. Maybe if I do that number, there, that'll hold that. Then I can take my lemon and lime halves and put those in the cooler. Grab, clean up a little bit. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to these tacos. I'll tell you what, I was trying to come up with something to eat for this trip, and this was kind of a last minute thought up kind of, I mean, not really last minute, but I've been thinking about it for a little while, but trying to find places to free camp that I haven't been before, and this is one of them. So we'll see. I get the feeling that there's a lot of traffic, like locals in and out. Seems like a popular place. I've seen several cars and trucks come and go. So we'll see. We'll see how that all goes. There we go. That's a little bit better. So you can see me now. But we'll see how that goes throughout the evening. Hopefully, as it starts getting a little later, it kind of settles down a little bit. All right, folks. So I've got shrimp is about thawed, which is good. There might still be some little parts of it that may still have a little bit of frozenness to it, but not too bad. They spilled, of course, on the tailgate, which is going to be a mess. Never fails. The plan is, so you're probably asking how I'm going to do this. I've got these little skewer deals, and I decided to cook them on the grill. Skewer them, cook them up like kebabs, and then take them off, get some of that good grilled flavor onto them. Plus, I know some people will be like, Jeremiah, why don't you ever like scrub your grill off real good? And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I could. And I know a lot of people that do that. But to me, a grill grate, I'll scrape it off every now and then. But a grill grate, to me, is a lot like a cast iron pan. Once it gets seasoned in pretty good, and especially after you've cooked, you know, some good steaks on it, it's got some fat burned into it, you kind of want that flavor to stay on there, if I'm being honest. So some people might be grossed out by that. I'm not one of those people. So, yeah. So we will set up a little station here for, oh, and I got some fresh cilantro I chopped. Sorry, I forgot to set up the camera for that. But just quick chop up that cilantro. So I'm gonna get set up here and start skewering some shrimp, and then get the old Coleman stove fired up and get them cooking. I always make a mess. It don't matter what I do. Sometimes you can't win for losing, but you know what? If this is the worst thing that happens, I call that a win. So, oh, these are going to be great. They are little, so they are going to cook pretty much instantly. They will not take long to cook at all. I did not. Ooh, I tell you, they smell good. You're getting some of that goodness from that last ribeye I cooked. Yeah, these are gonna go fast. Okay. I have a feeling these are gonna be good though. They are going to be very good. There you go. Don't those look good? Now, before it cools all the way off, I am just going to start off with a couple of these. All right, folks, let's get these made up. I got my shrimp, got my little bit of some sour cream, a good old squeeze pack because it makes life on the road a lot easier. Brought some cheese, don't know if I'll use it. A little bit of fresh lemon and lime, and we'll load these bad boys up. Mild pico de gallo on here. For a little pop of extra flavor. And check those out, folks. Don't those look yummy? I'll tell you what, I am ready to eat too. It has been a bit of a long day. I had about a 2.5 hour drive here. They're leaky. See that wet pico? Mmm. 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 Oh yeah. Say, I think by the end of it I'm going to be wearing them. But that is an excellent taco. Mmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I almost forgot. Fresh cilantro. How could I forget that? My wife always says cilantro makes things taste like soap. I don't get it. Some people say that, like, cilantro tastes like soap. I don't know what kind of soap you're using. But I do know what soap tastes like. I will admit that. Cilantro does not taste like soap. So when I was a kid, I won't tell you the whole story, but when I was a kid, I was staying with my grandparents. And I come from a long line of gospel preachers. So Grandpa was a gospel preacher, and my grandmother every night watched the local news, 6 o'clock news, primetime news at 6:30, and then it was Entertainment Tonight, then Wheel of Fortune, and then Jeopardy, and then bedtime. That was her routine every night, Monday through Friday. It didn't matter. You're watching local news, national news, Entertainment Tonight, Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy. So we were watching Entertainment Tonight, and I'll admit this was back in the early 80s. I'm that old. Well, anyway, I was probably 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old, maybe. I don't remember exactly. And I just remember Michael Jackson being interviewed. There wasn't anybody cooler than Michael Jackson back in the early 80s. And if you think different, you don't understand. All you older guys, you know, there was nobody cooler than Michael Jackson. We all wanted to be like Michael Jackson. I just thought that dude was the coolest guy on the planet. And the jacket with all the zippers, the leather, you know, he danced, got all the girls. Well, anyway, yeah, he was cool. Well, he got on there and he said a couple choice words, not too choice to not be broadcast over television, but way too choice for my very conservative grandparents. And I turned around and looked at my grandma, and I repeated it because I wanted to be like Michael Jackson. And I learned what soap tastes like that night because Grandma washed my mouth out with soap. But honestly, my grandparents were still alive. I would thank and praise them to this day. Learned a valuable lesson that day. And fortunately, because of that, I never really developed a problem with my language. And I am very, very thankful for that. One thing I never learned how to do is eat without spilling it all over myself. Oh my goodness. Oh, eat. And man down, I lost the shrimp. Well, good morning, y'all. I am up and had a good night in the truck. Slept pretty good, and I am here in front of Timber Ridge Lake. I went ahead and pulled up the drive and decided to give you a little view of the lake this morning. Last night, I tell you what, it was kind of crazy. Had kids up here swimming when I got up here. Just young kids, high school kids. And man, they were making a ruckus. Had people coming in and out going fishing. Well, as soon as all the people left that were fishing, man, them kids got rowdy. And more kids joined them. And I think they got into a fight. Anyway, they all cleared out of here around midnight. So after that, it was pretty quiet. But there for a minute, little sketchy, I will admit. So you never know what you're going to run into truck camping like this. So honestly, can't be all of that surprised. But I tell you what, putting up with stuff like that, you don't think it's going to be worth it until you come out and you see a view like this in the morning. I mean, man, you can't buy a better view. To be honest with you too, the sunrise coming up behind me, absolutely gorgeous. It is going to be a beautiful day. And as much as I wish that I could stick around here, I got things I got to do today, which is in a way kind of unfortunate, but you'll have that. Meeting up with some friends for a cookout tonight. The wife and I got to travel down. We got a little ways to go, but for now, I'm just enjoying this. But I got something special planned on the way back. Gonna grab breakfast. Not making breakfast this time, but gonna have a good breakfast. And gonna have a breakfast with a little bit of history to share with you. So stick around. We're gonna grab that breakfast here in just a minute. So folks, as you can see, this isn't just Bob Evans. This is the Bob Evans farm, the full-fledged farm. And I do believe it's Rio Grande, Ohio. Now, I'm going to ask my server if it's Rio Grande or it's Rio Grande, because I've gotten in arguments with people about this before. And I had a fella I knew, went to college with, was enrolled a semester or two at Rio Grande, which is what I've always called it, university. Played baseball for them, and he always called it Rio Grande, and so I just figured that's what it was called. I've heard other people say, no, it's Rio Grande. So we're gonna get that straightened up here in just a few minutes, and I'm gonna get myself some breakfast. So good coffee. Well, folks, they thought it would be better on 2 plates than 1, but that's all right. Perfect keto breakfast. All right, folks, well, finished up a good breakfast, good keto breakfast with some eggs, some sausage, some bacon, and a few mugs of coffee. And actually, my server was fantastic. She gave me one to go as well. So, got coffee for the drive home. I don't even have to make it, so can't complain about that. As you can see, I'm here on the Bob Evans farm, and it is Rio Grande, Ohio. So, yes, I was pronouncing it right. But yeah, let me show you around. Plaque here, talking about Bob Evans himself. It says, from the vision of making quality retail sausage, building a national restaurant chain, or saving family farms, Bob Evans was never short on the entrepreneurial spirit needed to make those dreams a reality, as he watched the company grow to nearly 600 restaurants across the country, and from manufacturing sausage himself in a 10-pound tub to dozens of food products in all 50 states, Bob Evans remained the farmer down on the farm. He was a visionary, but more importantly, Bob Evans was a friend and inspiration to many. His dedication to quality and customers is his legacy to the company that bears his name. So, pretty cool. Ohio historical marker. And this right here, we're looking at the event barn, and they've got some displays right over here. Right here is the restaurant where I just had breakfast. But pretty neat historical display here. Unfortunately, it's too early in the morning. I can't do anything to go in the restaurant, but yeah, pretty neat. There is a museum. So, the other side of the sign right here, if you want to read that, you can pause and do so. So, pretty cool. Bob Evans apparently lived from 1918 to 2007. So, pretty neat stuff. And it is a gorgeous morning. I tell you, the sun is out. There is not a cloud in the sky. And this is beautiful country down here. If you ever make it down to where I was last night and this morning was technically Lawrence County at Timberline Lake, but or Timber Ridge Lake, excuse me. And now I'm pretty sure I'm in Gallia County, but down southeastern Ohio, right close to the West Virginia border, which is the Ohio River. Not too far. If you make it down to Gallipolis, that is a pretty little town right on the river, and some good restaurants and nifty places to see. That has a beautiful park. So this is the homestead, it says. There's a plaque right here we'll take a look at. And don't know if there we can get the sun out of the way, but it says the homestead was built in 1820 by Nehemiah Wood, with an addition completed in 1822 by his son Harrison. The Wood family, a pioneer family of Gallia County, so yes, we are in Gallia County, arrived in 1805. The homestead remained in the Wood family for over 100 years. The two-story federal-style building is constructed of bricks and were made on site by freed slaves who accompanied Nehemiah Wood from Virginia. The lane just below the house was a stagecoach route that ran between Chillicothe and Gallipolis. Ironically, I was just talking about Gallipolis. In the mid-1800s, the homestead served as an inn and stagecoach stop. The Wood family sold the farm to Rio Grande College in 1838, which used the land for college gardening and farming programs. So, pretty cool there. And it says continued on other side. So, let's see. Bob and Jewel Evans purchased the farm in 1953 so their children could grow up in the country. They hosted restaurant owners and grocery meat department managers, showing them that Bob Evans' farm sausage really did come from a farmer down on the farm. With a country kitchen and beautiful farm landscape, the homestead provided an ideal setting for television commercials, which Bob Evans Farms started producing in the 1950s. The Bob Evans Farm Festival began in 1971 with a steady increasing number of visitors. Bob and Jewel built a new home closer to Gallipolis. Bob Evans Farms acquired the farm from Bob in 1973 and maintains it as a working farm and local historical center. The homestead was listed on the National Register of Historic Places on December 14th, 1987. So, yeah, pretty nifty. Pretty neat stuff. I've been to many a Bob Evans in my day and never really paid that much attention. Didn't realize that the history of it, and I knew it was an Ohio company, but I guess I just didn't realize how the history of it, I guess. I don't know how else to put it, but take a look down here. Some of the farms across the road, there is a windmill, which pretty neat. We'll take a look at that in a few minutes. We'll have to drive over there. It's a little far to walk. But here you can see the Bob Evans Farms barns. And on up ahead, I have a couple of log cabins we'll try and make it over to. So some really interesting things here. Like I said, if you ever make the trip, it is definitely worth coming to. And I tell you, I've been to many a Bob Evans. Growing up, that was like one of my dad's favorite places to go, because anywhere you can go and get breakfast all day, I think that's like a dad thing, because I'm finding that I like that more and more myself. So, pretty neat mural on the side of that barn, dedicated to all the services: the Air Force, Coast Guard, Merchant Marines, Navy, Army, and National Guard. So, really cool, dedicated to our military and folks that protect us. And I would think that's pretty awesome stuff. You can tell Bob Evans as a company are supporters of the military and very pro-America, which is, in my book, definitely a cool thing. So, beautiful farm. You can see the corn has sprouted. Say I got some corn, some tomatoes in there. I see some, without getting any closer, it looks like some cucumber plants, some pepper plants, maybe some beans. So I'm just naming off stuff I would plant, actually. I know some of that's corn and some of it's tomatoes. But yeah. So this is apparently the bicentennial barn. Pretty neat. See, this barn's design known as a bank barn because it was built on a sloping site was built in the mid-1840s. The bicentennial logo, which was painted on this barn in 1999 and again in 2011, was created by the Ohio Bicentennial Commission to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Ohio's admission into the Union in 1803. So really, really cool. And fun fact, if you did not know, but this is not the mural they are talking about, the Bob Evans mural. Actually, the state of Ohio did commission people to paint barns in every county for the Ohio Bicentennial, which was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome stuff. You can see the big flag on that barn. Boy, that's a beautiful barn. So, growing up as a kid from Central Ohio, you learn to appreciate barns, and when they're kept nice and restored and stuff, man, barns can be very pretty. So it looks like they have a site set up there for something, not sure, but cement pad with plenty of power and water. And here's what the mural or the plaque was talking about. The Ohio Bicentennial logo. And so as you drive through Ohio, in every county they chose a barn to paint that logo on. Very, very cool. Back in 2003, and this is the one for Gallia County, and really couldn't have picked a nicer one. Wow, this is like a little community. There are 5 cabins up here. Very neat. Very, very cool. And it looks like they're open. The Randall Dean Ingalls Memorial School, presented by his parents Wayne and Laverne Ingalls, commemorates Randy's teaching of handicapped children. His compassion and patience brought them learning, dignity, and happiness. So they're pretty cool. A little more information about the Ingalls Schoolhouse, built near Lowell, Ohio in 1860. If you ever traveled down Route 60 between Beverly and, or no, that's not, yeah, on Route 60 between Beverly and Marietta, Ohio, there's Lowell lies right between the two. And cool little town. I tell you what, if you ever get to Lowell, do it in the fall. And, oh, it is open. Very cool. So, but yeah, if you ever go to Lowell, do it in the fall. They have a wonderful Oktoberfest, which is really, really cool. Here we go. Info about the one-room schoolhouses if you want to pause and read. Say, I'm not going to go through all of that. But old teacher's certificate. Very cool. Very cool. So, and here's some historical pictures. You can pause and read. But yeah, I tell you, this is a lot of neat stuff to come here and see. I've got some of the things you probably would have found in the old schoolhouse back in the day, and Mr. Evans' math on the chalkboard up there. And back here, I like seeing this. This is very cool. Proverbs 3:5, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not to thine own understanding. and all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. Say, somebody with a putting a great inspirational verse up there. Rules of conduct for teachers. If you think teachers got it bad now, look at this. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. The old heater, the old stove, wood burning stove, I'm sure, or maybe they burned coal. Not sure. Another plaque about the blackboards. If you want to pause and read. And there is an upstairs. I'm not going to go up there, but it looks like that's where the teacher lived. Actually, I'll put my head up there. Some neat stuff on the desk here. Old journals and cards and different things. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. That's funny. Got the old Abe up there overlooking. Some learning materials. Books. There's your apple. An 8th grade final exam report from 1895. I would hope I would be able to pass that. I don't know. If I can't, that's pretty rough. Say, considering I'm enrolled in college currently. Here you go. Yeah. Looks like living quarters, sleeping quarters for the teacher. So, I did not realize that some of the older one-room schoolhouses would include something like this, but that's pretty cool. Very neat. Now you can't walk in there. They've got it locked off, but pretty neat stuff. Take a walk through some of the other cabins. See if they're all open. But yeah, I tell you, this would be a great place to bring your kids. If you got a day that you're down in this area and looking for something very family friendly to do, this would be a very good thing for kids. Very educational. Very cool. Say, this is the village of Adamsville, is what the collection of log cabins is called. So, the village of Adamsville commemorates life in this area as it was during the early to mid 19th century. The original Adamsville settlement was located on the banks of Raccoon Creek, roughly 1/2 mile east of this site. Adam Rickabaugh, a veteran of the Revolutionary War from Virginia, brought his family to this valley around 1804. His patent for land along the creek was signed by President Thomas Jefferson and Secretary of State James Madison soon after his arrival. Rickabaugh built a grist mill, which became a meeting place for a growing community. In 1805, Nehemiah Wood, one of the earliest settlers in Gallia County, bought the mill from Rickabaugh, later adding a sawmill and a fulling mill for cleaning and thickening woolen cloth. So, continued on the other side. Say, although Adamsville was never incorporated, the little settlement grew and prospered. The village was divided into plots by Rickabaugh's sons, Adam and William. In 1837, a post office was established. In 1846, a post office was established in 1846. The Adamsville Hotel, located along present Farmview Road, provided an important stagecoach stop between Gallipolis and Chillicothe. After Rio Grande College was established in 1876, the village's center was moved a few miles away to higher ground around the college and away from the creek's occasional flooding. From 1971 to 92, the village of Adamsville was recreated at the location of the original settlement on the Bob Evans farm along Raccoon Creek. Because of the continued flooding and the ravages of time, the 5 log structures representing the village were dismantled, moved to their current location, and renovated. during 2011-2012. So, yeah, pretty nifty. Pretty nifty stuff. Gives you a little history of what we're looking at. Now we'll look at the Freedom Seekers, Ohio, and the Underground Railroad. So this is one of the cabins built to house the 100 freed slaves who came to the farm with Nehemiah Wood and his family in 1805. It's noted that Uncle Albert Hurt first lived in the cabin near a sweet spring on Granny's Branch Fork. At one time, a man named Thompson raised 9 girls in this home. Holy moly, 9 girls in this, yeah, okay. Not much bigger than living in the back of the truck. Rio Grande college students often lived in the house, the last in 1952. 2 of the cabin's doors led to lean-to rooms, one of which was usually the kitchen. So, there you go. You imagine a man, his wife, and 9 children in this little tiny structure. But to give you an idea of what it looks like, pretty neat. Let's see, some information about the Underground Railroad and freedom of the slaves, the abolitionists, the flight, rebellion timeline, slavery itself, freedom seekers, the Ohio and the Underground Railroad, in the Middle Passage. This is really interesting stuff, and I would highly suggest, if you're ever in this part of the country and you're interested in history at all, and I am a bit of a history nut. I love going through this stuff. I really wish I had time to go through the museum and it was open, but I'm an early bird. I'm here before it opens, and because I've got stuff to do later today, I do not have time to stay and go through it, which is unfortunate. I will come back and do that. But here's a timeline of what happened and some key terminology. So I'll just scroll through, and if you want to pause the video and read all that, very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff, especially if you're I love history from revolutionary times up to like World War II, and more recent history just feels like it's stuff that happened. But it's really interesting learning about like the early founding of our country and why things are the way they are. Kind of neat stuff. Here's Appalachian Crafts. In 1880, James Sprague built this cabin. He owned in Springfield Township, about 6 miles from here. This cabin was constructed using pine, poplar, and oak, which grew on the Sprague property. The notching is dovetailed. The property remained in the Sprague family for 4 generations. In the early 1980s, Bob Evans purchased the Sprague property. He donated the cabin to the farm in 1992, and it became part of the reconstructed Adamsville Village. So, very cool here. Got an old sewing machine, old sewing machine, and some of the quilts and things that were woven and made. Tell you what, some of them quilts can be absolutely beautiful. My grandmother gave me a couple of quilts before she passed, and I tell you what, there's the quality of those things. You can't buy that stuff, rather than like a handmade quilt. There's some wood carvings by a local man. Looks like a local man in Gallipolis. Yeah, those are really intricate, really cool. So yeah, I bet those took some time. And they're Joe Turpak of Gallipolis. So also some old buttons and things, and some of the types of materials and things that used to be used, the old thimbles Yeah, this is really interesting stuff. I tell you, like I said, it's a great place to bring kids, especially if you want them to learn something. I think there's too many things for kids these days where they don't learn anything. And this is a good opportunity. Bring them here and they'll learn something. So pretty cool. The old loom. Pretty sure the wasp and hornet spray probably isn't period correct. Just throwing that out there. But I'm sure it's needed in here. Another shot of the loom. That is really interesting. And here you go, log cabin quilt. So, talking about the Salem Missionary Society continues longtime tradition and talks about their quilting, and that is a very pretty quilt. Crafts of Appalachia. Same. Some more wares from the area. So if you're into quilting, and of course there's a Bob Evans quilt, which is pretty nice, very nice. So it just amazes me with quilting and things like that, how much time and effort is put into making them. There's a thing about basket weaving. Very interesting. So if you want to, let's see if I can get the glare of the window out. You can pause and read. Very interesting. Very cool. So 2 more cabins to go through. And like I said, this is a great place to bring kids. So let them learn something. Let them learn something, then you can go get yourself a nice lunch. Okay, this is the Phillips Pioneer Home. In 1850, 28-year-old Abraham Phillips bought this 2-story log cabin near the town of Kerr, about 5 miles from here. The cabin was half dovetail corner notches. The upper logs are pine and the lower logs are oak and other hardwoods. Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Isaacs owned the cabin in the 1970s and sold it to Bob Evans, who donated it to the farm. In 1974-75, this cabin became the first log building reconstructed at the previous location of the Adamsville Village near Raccoon Creek. So, pretty interesting how these cabins can just be disassembled and reassembled. And as a kid that grew up with like Lincoln logs and erector sets, like I can see how that's possible, but I'll show you here in a second. This just scared me. Now I feel real dumb. Oh, it never fails. So this is my buddy Isaac. I thought there was an actual person sitting here at this table eating some grub, and I just walk in here talking, and yeah, no, he's the dummy, and I'm the dummy for being scared. Oh, it never fails. It never fails, folks. So yeah, very neat, very neat. There is an upstairs to it, but they've got it completely blocked off. You can't get up there, but really, really interesting. And also, if you've been around old barns, and I've been around old barns, the property that I grew up on had an old barn, and seen the technique that these old barns were built, very similar to what they did with these cabins. They would notch out, and actually in the barn that was on our property when I was growing up, it was all like mortared, and not like mortar, I mean like cement, but like the posts and stuff were mortared together, and they used wooden pegs. So they would drill it out and put wooden pegs through, and I tell you, that's why a lot of these old barns are still standing. That method of construction was pretty robust. Here's the Adamsville Mercantile. Say sometime between 1800 and 1830, the Stormont family built this cabin near Johns Creek, about 14 miles from the farm. The notching is half dovetail. Of note are the original second floor joists that are bowed. Okay, let me start that over again. Of note are the original second floor joist and the bowed beams above the door. Samuel Stormont owned the cabin as late as 1874. Adam Heineman, 1837 to 1928, was the next owner of the cabin. Bob Evans bought the cabin in 1971 and moved it here on the farm. So, all right, we know that guy's here, so he's not going to scare me. Say my boy next door threw me for a loop there, but here, if you were to need to purchase any goods or sundries, say this would be the place to come and do it. And there is your helper, your store hours. And let me get that in there, and you can pause and read it if you'd like to. But pretty neat stuff. Very cool. And the old stone fireplace. I don't think that is original. That looks reconstructed clearly. But the old yoke. Very cool. If you're into old farm implements and things of that nature, and just like historical tools, yeah, this is a place, this would be a place to come. Some really interesting things. So there's the old sales catalog. I don't know if that's like the Sears and Roebuck, but upstairs, which I'm not allowed to go up to, but they have a lot more horse collars, yokes, things of that nature up there. Yeah, extremely cool. Oh, there it tells you what they are. Say blacksmith tools, headstall, horse collar, reins. Yeah, really cool. And here is the bowed entry that they were talking about. You can see that piece of wood is bowed. Kind of neat. Kind of interesting, the way things were built. So, all right, well, I think I'm gonna head across the road. We'll take a look at that windmill. I'll be back with you here in just a second, folks.